What's going on? Dr. Theresa Larson here with Adapt Media and My New Normal podcast. So this is very exciting. We've got a number of amazing shows and humans to show you starting in November. But in the meantime, I want to teach you coaches, athletes out there, loved ones, how to assess movement, especially how to assess an adaptive athlete's movement, someone who's had a permanent injury and their new normal, they have new movement now. They have a new mindset. They have a new way of living. So this assessment basically tests someone's physical literacy. We all should be testing our movement and mobility often, just like going to the dentist. But adaptive athletes, because there is such a difference in each injury, their new normal, this is a way to test and see where they're at in their new normal. And what an athlete looks like on paper, what an individual looks like on paper in an image, doesn't indicate their function. They are not their diagnosis. They are not their MRI. Their function is usually oftentimes more than what you see. So that's what makes them adaptive. So this assessment, we've got 2 tiers to it. And each tier, so the first tier is bilateral movement. We look at someone globally squatting, hinging, pushing, pulling, carrying. And then we look at someone, tier 2, unilaterally doing that same thing on one leg or one arm. How are they loading? And it really pulls out movement dysfunction quickly. So what I test here, and you might think like, well, how is a wheelchair athlete going to squat? Well, we adapt the squat to a wheelchair athlete. They are able to raise and lower their body mass using their arms, and we show you how. But the reason why we assess, right, is to test someone's physical literacy, but you gotta understand principles of movement, of what goes into optimal movement, minus any dysfunction or any injury. Once you know that, then you know how to look for what might be considered dysfunctional. So we show the movements in these videos for non-ambulatory wheelchair and ambulatory standing athletes, and we show you what optimal looks like. And then we have certain grades and tests and scores for the wheelchair athlete and the standing athlete. So you get a test for the standing athlete, then you get a test for the wheelchair athlete, and you get 2 tiers to each with a scoring system that makes sense for you. The thing is, there is some ways you can change it yourself as a coach in terms of the weight based on your population. But it's very important that you understand what normal functional movement looks like, so you understand what dysfunctional looks like. And the key is, though, knowing that an adaptive athlete can be completely functional with certain dysfunctions. You just have to understand where and why and how. And that's why we do this assessment. So what I want you to do is check out this video series we have that's going to go out once a week. We have a group of sheets that go with it too, testing sheets. So if you want access to this testing sheets, click the link provided and sign up with your email, because we'd love to keep in touch with you and see how you're doing assessing these amazing athletes who are the most resilient humans you will ever work with. Have a good one.